I tell my clients, look, there are 2 reasons why you should miss a level 10 meeting. It's vacation or death, and the death is yours, nobody else's.
What's up, guys? Today we have special guest, Amanda Barkey. Welcome to the show, Amanda.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So number one, we were talking a little bit off camera, and you're practically Superwoman. You have like so much going on, you know. But I mean, the big thing we want to talk to you today about is like you're an EOS implementer. For those who don't know, it's built on from the book Traction, right?
Correct.
And you help businesses basically to scale and to like help the leaders to be more. Maybe I'm doing a terrible job of talking about this. Like, tell me, what do you do as a business implementer?
Yeah, well, thank you. I don't consider myself Superwoman, but
well, before we go there, so
my life is very full.
Tell, I mean, like we heard like the quick and fast story, like the craziness that you have going on. Like, tell us all the things that you currently do.
Sure. Yeah, my life is very full. You're right. So I have 5 children, 3 businesses, a nonprofit, visionary husband who keeps me on my toes. I split my time between Southern California and Hawaii. So I'm a very busy person. My life is full. I'm an EOS implementer. So I'm a business coach. So teacher, facilitator, and coach. And I live a very full life, very fast paced. Things are always changing. And as
an EOS implementer, like, can you break, like, what does that do?
Sure.
Or like, what's kind of like the goal when you come into a business?
Yeah. So an EOS implementer, like I said, is a teacher, facilitator, and coach. So I work with entrepreneurial businesses.
What is EOS? Maybe for people who haven't heard of that before.
Okay, so let's back up. So EOS stands for the Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Okay.
It's a simple set of practical tools to help you to do more in your business. There's 6 key components in a business, and we use these tools and disciplines to strengthen the 6 key components in your business, in any business.
Is this from like a small business, large business? What kind of businesses how would this apply to?
Yeah, small to medium-sized businesses. So typically I work with entrepreneurial leadership teams of businesses that have about 10 to 250 employees.
Okay. And how many of these implementations or business coachings have you done in like your career?
Well, I've lost count. I've worked with hundreds of leaders.
I've done
hundreds of sessions. Yep. Wow. So
I mean, you don't look old enough to be like, I mean, did you start when you were 12?
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely did. Thank you.
Yeah, so you work with hundreds of leaders. Wow.
Yeah. I've been using EOS, and actually I started by reading the book Traction.
Okay.
EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Is it Gino Wickman?
Correct. Gino Wickman wrote the book Traction about 20 years ago.
I feel like it's been a game changer for so many different businesses. I read this book maybe a couple of years ago. It was highly recommended to me, and then we started to half implement EOS into our team. And then, I mean, obviously we ran into some hiccups. We could have probably used someone like yourself to help us do it better. But I think it's such an important tool it's a great tool to get you to be more efficient, but also more productive at the same time.
Yeah. Every business owner needs an operating system for their business. And so I love that you found value in it, but you're absolutely correct. I say to people all the time, I'm a repentant, reformed self-implementer. So I did the same thing. I read the book about a decade ago, and entrepreneurs, we can do it all, right? We thought, this is a great system. It makes total sense. Like, let's do it. So we did it ourselves. My husband likes to joke because on average, my clients stay with me for about 2 years when we're doing a professional implementation. And he always says, we crammed 2 years of learning into 5 years. So we did it the long, slow, hard way. We didn't know any better, but if I could invent a time machine, man, I would go back and I'd do it different.
I mean, I think that's like one of the beauties, but also the challenges of entrepreneurship is that you're always forging a new path that you've never been before, right? And so it's cool because you get to experience new things and you're learning along the way. Yeah. But sometimes it helps to have a guide or a coach to kind of like direct you or like kind of like help you narrow down the correct ways or take the correct path that you're going to be taking along the journey.
Absolutely. Yeah. As entrepreneurs, right? We're in the day to day. We're in the weeds. We're like running like heck in our business, firing on all cylinders. And a coach sees things from a different perspective, right? Like you're playing the game of entrepreneurship and the coach is on the sidelines and they see things in a whole different way. And so that's the benefit.
I mean, so you said you have 3 businesses and a nonprofit. Just real quickly, like, what are your 3 businesses and what is your nonprofit?
Yeah, so my husband and I own businesses called Soccer Shots. It's children's soccer program for 2 to 8-year-olds. It's non-competitive skills training and character development through the platform of soccer. So it's a franchise. So we own franchises in Southern California. We also own franchises here on Oahu. So those are the 2 family businesses that we own. And then I have my own EOS business, so my coaching practice. And my husband and I, we have a nonprofit that we created together in 2012.
Okay.
And so it started off as a soccer donation project.
Okay,
and then it kind
okay.
of snowballed into other things. And so we're doing work, we're using our for-profit businesses to fund our nonprofit work. And we're doing work in Cameroon, Africa. So I have a school with 300 children in a remote conflict zone. We have a moto taxi company that pays for the salaries for the teachers. We're digging wells. We have an agriculture school. We have a pharmacy, a prison ministry. So we're doing a lot over there.
I mean, like just when you just describe it, it just seems overwhelming. There's just so much like, and then
there's a lot of moving parts.
As far as your soccer, what is it called?
Soccer shots.
Soccer shots.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, like how many like students is in your or
between Orange County, California, and Oahu, Hawaii, we serve over 10,000 families.
Over 10,000 families.
Year.
Wow, that's so crazy. I mean, just listening to you, I feel like I get tired. Just like it seems like so overwhelming. Like there's so much going on in your life, you know. And it sounds like, I mean, like just knowing you in a short period of time, you have a very full and fulfilling life.
Yes.
And if I was in your shoes, I feel like I would be going crazy.
Right.
You know, like, so,
do I look tired?
No, you look. I mean, you look fine. So.
Right. I get a lot of sleep. No, you know what? People ask me that all the time. They're like, "How do you do it?" Right?
Yeah,
5 kids, 3 businesses, a nonprofit. You've got a lot. It's a lot going on, and the answer's EOS. I've EOS'd my life, and so I live, breathe, and eat this stuff.
So I mean, like EOS, you can actually apply it to your life as well as your business. Really interesting.
They are simple, practical tools. So we are when I'm working with my clients, my leadership teams of entrepreneurial business, we're strengthening the 6 key components of their business. Right.
So every business has the same 6 key components.
Exactly. Okay. Yep. It's vision, people, data, process, issues, and traction.
Okay, wait, that's a lot. So say it. So one more time. Vision, people, data, issues, process,
and traction.
What is traction?
So traction is all about bringing your vision down to the ground. Gino likes to say vision without traction is hallucination. Okay. Right. So oftentimes I'll see an entrepreneurial's vision go unrealized because of weakness in the traction component. And so to gain traction on your business or on anything, you need discipline and accountability. Okay. And so the ways that we do that in EOS, we strengthen those 6 key components using 2 tools or disciplines for each component. And so the 2 tools or disciplines that we use to strengthen the traction component are rocks and meetings.
Got it.
And so I teach rocks. Rocks that's just a sticky term for goals, your 90-day priorities. Okay. There's a really great illustration by Dr. Stephen Covey where he talks about rocks. And he uses this, you can look it up on YouTube. There's this college professor who does this illustration where he takes a cylinder, and if you fill it up with water and sand and pebbles, and those represent, the day-to-day interruptions and your tasks and all the other stuff, and then you try to put your priorities in, you put the rocks in after, you're not going to fit very many in. But if you focus on what's most important, so you put those rocks in first, and then you put all the other stuff around it, you can accomplish more because you're focusing on the big stuff, the important things.
I mean, it seems like a simple concept in theory, but I feel like it's so hard, like in real life, right? So how do you prioritize? How do you make sure that your rocks stay like front of mind? I'm assuming that the EOS helps with this process.
Absolutely, yeah. So I meet with my leadership teams every 90 days, and we reprioritize and focus on what's most important over the next 90 days. And those are your rocks. And so every 90 days, you and your leaders are running like heck in your business. You just come up for air, you recheck your vision, make sure that you're all on the same page, because sometimes you're not. And then I help you to reprioritize and create new objectives, and we go back into our business and we accomplish those objectives, working our way towards that long-term energizing goal, your big vision, right? Yeah. There's this saying, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. I love that. So that's what we're doing every 90 days. And you can do the same thing in your personal life too, right? So
I can take all the things I'm learning from my EOS for my business and actually apply to my personal life as well too.
Yep. So we use a thing to strengthen the vision component. We answer 8 simple questions.
Okay, wait. This is like super technical. Yes. I love it. I love it. But like just to slow it down a little bit, like let's say you're coming into like a business. Let's say like our business. What does like a session with you, like how does this start and what does that look like?
Sure. Yeah. So we have a proven process. So a proven process document that shows you exactly how we work with our clients. There are 900 implementers worldwide. And earlier you were talking about, the number of or clients or businesses that I've worked with. The implementers worldwide collectively have run over 150,000 full day sessions in over 25,000 businesses. And so That's a lot, right?
Yeah,
and we all do
yeah.
it the same way.
Okay,
and so we have a proven process where if you're interested in EOS and implementing it in your business, you meet with an EOS implementer and you do a 90-minute meeting.
Okay,
and
so
it's like
the 90 minutes is like kind of before the full day.
The right
fit
meeting,
I see,
right?
I see.
Is EOS right for me? Can I tolerate Amanda? Is Amanda right for me? And then if the answer is yes, we talk about next steps. And next steps is a full day together. And so that's called focus day. And so you go through this space learning process. And on average, I do about 5 full day sessions with my clients every year. In the beginning, there's a few more, a few are really close together, like tight, pretty packly in the front end, because you're learning these tools, you're implementing them. So we're working in the beginning really hard to master the tools. Mastery to me is that you know the tool and you're using it on a leadership team level. Then from there we go into execution mode. So that's where I work.
Is that the same day or the different day?
No, these are all different days. So it's a space learning process. So typically after the first 3 full days and we've mastered those tools, then we're in execution mode, and I meet with my leadership teams every 90 days on a quarterly basis for as long as they need me. I run their quarterlies and their annuals till they don't need me anymore. So the goal is that they graduate. I'm not a consultant. My job isn't to dig myself deeper into anybody's business.
I feel like that's really interesting, because a lot of times, like, if you're coming in as a consultant, the goals are not necessarily aligned with like getting the business healthy, because you want to carve out a spot for yourself to make sure that you're needed, right? But your goal as a EOS implementer sounds like you want to carve out so you're not needed anymore, and the business is a more healthy space.
Exactly. Yep. So I come in and I'm a teacher, facilitator, and coach, and at some point you're going to get it. You're going to master these tools. I'm going to get the heck out of your way, let you run your business. And so that's my job. And it's really exciting for me because, you know, on average, my clients stay on with me for about 2 years, some longer, some shorter, some stay on with us forever. But I get to, because EOS is agnostic, it's not, you know, it's made for entrepreneurial businesses. So I work with all different kinds of businesses.
It could be like real estate, it could be production, it could be ceramics, like anything would work. Like as long
manufacturing, service businesses, anything, you name it, it works. So,
you know, when I first started as a real estate investor, I thought I was a real estate investor. Eventually, as we started to grow, I realized we are a small business. And then when I started learning about, like, talking to other entrepreneurs and seeing businesses, basically all businesses have the same problems and the same thing. It's like we think like we're so different. Like, you know, like real estate investing is very different than, let's say, selling t-shirts. But at the core of it, it's like the same problems you're trying to solve and the same issues we're all running into. So having a coach for business is like really, really helpful, as opposed to just thinking a coach just for real estate investing or a coach just for like selling t-shirts.
Yeah, it's really funny. Most entrepreneurs will tell me their story and their struggles and their challenges, and, you know, they think they're so special. And you're all so special. You all really are. You're all snowflakes. But at the end of the day, every entrepreneur deals with 136 issues simultaneously. And to the extent that we can strengthen those 6 key components of your business, of any business, you can run a better business and live a better life. And there's only ever been 23 issues in the history of business. I'm telling you, I work with businesses.
You sound like you sounds like you really know what you're talking about. These numbers and things. I mean, something is coming so naturally and quickly from you, but it's like it sounds like it's a science. Like, you know, like so many times I feel like business is an art. But then, like, it sounds like you're breaking it down to yourself. Like, here's the exact 6 things that you need to work on. Here's the 23 things that always come up. It sounds like you guys have kind of mastered or broken down all the different things and really deep dove, so like you know exactly what to focus on, and you can kind of pinpoint the things that really need like attention.
That's the genius of Gino Wickman. He created this system 20 years ago. It's been proven over the course of the last 20 years in, you know, thousands and thousands of businesses. And he really mastered the art and science of what it takes to run a truly great entrepreneurial company. You
know, what's really interesting too is that, like, when you come in from like a high level point of view, it seems like you're just teaching people how to run meetings. Like, that's what it seems like, right? When I read Traction. But then it's so crazy how, like, when you implement these things, or you have like somebody who, like, it can literally change the course of your business. Like, you can literally go from negative cash flow to like you're sinking downhill. Have someone like you come into the business and literally like change the direction of the ship. And I think it's so powerful to have the right like leadership and the right tools so that you can make the good decisions. And like and business is just a series of like multiple decisions over and over and over, right? Correct. And so if you have the right tools and the North Stars and the things like to make the right decisions, it just a matter of time before all those decisions line up where it's going to take you to success.
Exactly. You got it.
So selfishly, I'd love to have a small session about EOS and kind of break this down. So there's six parts to the
EOS model.
Okay, EOS model. So let's break them down little by little. So number one, you said it was vision. What is that?
Okay, so getting strong in the vision component means that you're rowing in the same direction. You're all on the same page with your vision and your plan. So no matter if you have 10 employees or 10,000 employees, you're all rowing in the same direction. That sounds super powerful, right?
Yeah.
So we use two tools. We use something called a vision traction organizer, where it's a 2-page strategic planning document. We answer 8 simple questions to get you on the same page with your vision and plan.
Are you doing it with your team, or is it by yourself? Okay, with the team. Okay.
So I work with the leadership team in those first 3 days I was telling you about, when we're really digging in and implementing the system. That's when we clarify the answers to those 8 questions.
Okay. So you have a vision session with with your team.
Yep.
And then what do you do after that?
So then we clarify the vision as a leadership team, and that actually takes us 2 days. We have 2 vision building day sessions, and then they go into their business and they use these tools. And it's one thing to create a vision together as a leadership team. It's a whole nother thing when you share that vision with your entire organization, and you get every single employee rowing in the same direction, executing on the same vision and plan. That's really powerful.
Can you give an example of somebody you work with where this was really helpful for their business?
I mean, I can give you so many examples.
just one. I just want to hear that.
Yeah. I worked with this really interesting business. It's a charter school system. So we implemented EOS in their business with the leadership team, and they have schools. And the idea with this, with these tools and disciplines, is that you migrate them down throughout your organization, right? Yeah. And so they did that work, and they actually migrated them down into the schools. So the schools were running these meetings. These schools had they had, all these tools and disciplines. And so for me, that's super fulfilling to think about how far reaching my work has gone. It's not just in their business, but it's going out into schools.
Well, I mean, this goes to a point where the vision is so important, right? But a lot of times maybe one guy has a vision, right? But he doesn't either articulate it or he doesn't communicate it well. And then nobody else knows what that vision is. So we're all kind of going in our different directions. But when you come in and you implement the first part of the EOS system with the vision, now when that vision is disseminated all into the different schools, every school is rowing in the same direction, and there's a lot of synergy and things that probably happen from this one. Even this is one aspect of EOS.
They're growing and thriving, and it's a really beautiful thing to see. Yeah, and it's most of the time it's not even that it's just the visionary owner founder that has a vision. The entire team has a vision, but if I took each person into a room with a light bulb hanging over their head, and I interrogated each person, they'd all probably have a little bit of a different story, right? And so the idea here is to clarify that vision, all get on the same page, get everybody in alignment. And when we do that, it's incredible. Planets line up in ways we can't even explain. Magic happens. It's really beautiful when an organization can get their vision and plan clarified, and everyone understanding it, internalizing it, wanting to be a part of it.
This I think I heard somebody talk about this a little bit before, where they're talking about decision making in the business. And so one way you can go about this is you can just have a set of rules that somebody follows. Okay, in this case, I'm going to make this decision. In this case, I'll make this decision. But another way is, if you know the vision behind the rules, the why, then you don't need all the rules. You're just here's a vision. I'm going to make my decision based on this vision. And if everybody is just making their decisions based on the vision, they're all going to be in alignment. As opposed to you have to create these rules, and then people are they might break this rule, or why is this rule? But it's all because of the vision. So you're putting the carrot in front of the horse, right? Or the horse in front of the carrot. So.
Yep. That's one thing. When I work with my teams, when I'm meeting with them on a quarterly basis, we review that. It's called the VTO, the Vision Traction Organizer. That's that 2-page strategic planning document I was talking about. And we go over every single question with a fine-tooth comb, because there are things like core values, core focus, 10-year target, marketing strategy. And we're going through these things and saying, is this who we really say we are? Is that us? Is this really where we're going long term? And if it's not, we need to challenge that, because we are going to get on the same page with this vision and plan, and then we're going to make every decision in mind with this plan in our heads, because this is the greater good. And we need to make every decision for our organization with the greater good in mind moving forward. Yeah. So that's what we do.
Does the vision ever change over time?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It can change. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I rework core values. I rework things like a 10-year target, right?
It's just clarity, right? Like until you put it into vision and start marching towards it, you don't realize actually this is not the vision we need. This is like we need to adjust it slowly for another direction or something.
And that's the benefit of meeting every single quarter. We're keeping the circles connected. We're in alignment, right? We're getting on the same page.
Okay, so number 1 is vision. Number 2 is
people.
Okay,
yeah,
this is the fun one. The fun and the challenging one.
Right. So you cannot achieve a great vision without great people.
100%.
And that is different. It looks different in every organization. And so it's 2 things: right people, right seats. And these are 2 terms popularized by Jim Collins in his book Good to Great.
Okay.
So I make them a little more tangible for people. And I'll take them one at a time. So right people is people who share your company's core values.
Okay.
They fit your culture like a glove.
Got it.
And so that's right people. And then right seats are people who GWC their seat in the company.
GWC means?
So it means that they get it, they want it, and they have the capacity to do it.
I love that. Right. Say that one more time. So.
Yeah, GWC. So they get it.
Okay.
That's their God-given talent, their natural ability. They really get it.
Okay.
They want it. Do they jump out of bed in the morning like a piece of toast popping out of a toaster? Excuse me. You can't coach them enough. You can't pay them enough. They have to really want it.
Okay.
And then capacity is like skill. There's the skills and training and education that they've acquired to get them here. So it has to be a yes for all 3. Okay. And so we use a tool called the accountability chart. And we it's a structure first, people second approach. So we create an accountability chart for the entire organization. Okay. So we get to work making sure that we understand what are the functions that we need in this organization to take us to the next level, take us where we want to go.
Okay. So you're putting like kind of business structure first.
Correct.
Before you put the people into place.
Exactly.
Or whereas me, I'm like, let's just find people and just stick them into you do it. We obviously do the opposite, right?
Exactly. So, yeah. And that's totally normal. That's typical. That's what most people do. So we take a structure first, people second approach. So really clarifying what are those functions that we need in the business. Every organization has 3 major functions: sales and marketing, operations, and finance. Okay. Then we add a 4th major. Sometimes we customize that. So sales and marketing might break out into a couple of functions. Finance might break out into HR or IT. Then we customize it even further and we add a 4th function. That's the integrator. The integrator is the glue that holds everything together. They integrate the way that leadership team plays together to achieve the common vision. So they are the drum, they beat the drum. They are the heartbeat of the organization. And then we add a 5th seat, which is visionary. The visionary is the big ideas person. They come to every meeting with 20 new ideas.
This is another Gino Wickman and
Mark Winters. Mark C. Winters and Gino Wickman wrote Rocket Fuel.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
When you have those 2 key leaders, so the visionary and the integrator, they could not be more different. Okay. It's the big ideas guy and then the person. Well, I kind of call it. So visionaries, they usually have ADD, right? They come to every meeting with 20 new ideas. They love staying at 30,000 feet. And then I look at like the integrator as like visionary Ritalin. So they filter all those ideas. They bring those ideas down to the ground for that visionary. And so that's the dynamic duo in your organization.
You know what I mean? I feel like when I go to any kind of entrepreneurship like conference or meetups, everybody is a visionary.
Sure.
It's so hard to find integrators, but a good integrator is so valuable.
Absolutely. They're key. I would say they're the number 1 key role in the organization. But that's the dynamic duo. And a good integrator is hard to find, but they're out there. And there are a lot of resources out there. If you're a founder, owner, visionary who's listening to this right now, you can find your integrator, and there are resources out there. I know EOS Worldwide has a matching program, and there are other fractional integrator services, etc. But so oftentimes there will be a visionary trapped in an integrator seat, and then you'll see a lot of 90-day spikes, and then chaos ensues.
I see.
Because they just are not wired that way to really like stay focused and stay on course, and a visionary is their counterpart.
Yeah, I mean, so like this is really interesting. So I feel like this is like a lot of entrepreneurs I talk to is exactly like you said, where they're a visionary trapped in the integrator seat.
Yes.
And like you kind of when you're a solopreneur, you kind of like no choice, right? You have to fit in. You have to like sit in all the seats.
Yeah.
So but then I feel like visionaries, like you said, have ADD.
Yes.
And so it's hard for them to just stay and roll that and then take care of the details and actually execute. You know?
Yeah. You know, at the beginning, of course, you have to wear all the hats. I'm a business owner. I started a business. I get it. So you have to wear all the hats. But there comes a point in time where when your business is growing, and especially if you want to scale and break through those ceilings, you can't keep wearing all the hats. You have to build extensions of yourself, right? And so I think that the most important extension, or, you know, that hat that you can hand off, and things that you want to the things that you should not be doing if you're a visionary, are the things that you delegate to that integrator. And so you need to find your counterpart, build an extension of yourself, and then really lean in and know your role. Yeah.
Okay, so number 1 was vision. Number 2 is people. Right. Number 3 is data.
Yeah.
Okay.
So strengthening your data component looks like you're making decisions in your business based on facts and figures rather than egos and emotions that so often drive decision making in an
That's a really good line.
Yeah, thanks. So we use a simple scorecard. So a scorecard, it's been called a million things in the history of business, a flash report, dashboard. We call it a scorecard. And then we have measurables, also known as KPIs. But a measurable is just a number that I, as one of your employees, am accountable to keep on track every single week. So we have a measurable on your scorecard. We have a goal for the week. So we're tracking these things on a weekly basis, things like sales calls and proposals and errors. And then you add who is accountable. So we have extreme ownership. That's the name of the game in EOS. And so who's accountable to keep that number on track every single week?
And like when you're looking at these KPIs, I think there's typically like lead indicators and lag indicators, right? There's things that you can control. Like I can make this many calls in a week or in a day. And then I can close this many deals, right? And so like a lot of times like there is parallel between them, but sometimes there's not, you know? So like when you're looking at like the implementing like EOS, is it more important to focus on the lead indicators or on the lag indicators?
So I coach my teams and we really dig in and we rework that scorecard a lot and really try to, you know, it's a flexible tool and it needs to give you a pulse on your business. So I tell my teams, like, look, if you were on a deserted island and a cabana boy or girl, whichever you prefer, hands you a sheet of paper. And on that sheet of paper, there are 5 to 15 numbers. And that tells you exactly how your business is doing. What would those numbers be?
That's interesting.
And so they should be leading
5
indicators.
5 to 15 numbers.
Right. 5 to 15. A lot of people are either tracking nothing or they're tracking way too much. Right. And so we got to get focused on what's most important. 5 to 15.
5 to 15 seems like a big spread. What is it usually, like 7, 10? What's like the typical? Is it usually 5?
I think it really depends on the business, on the leaders, on how long you've been in business, on how well you can, you have to be able to get the numbers. Right. And so I've seen scorecards, sort of develop every which way. But the main thing is the leading indicators. So, there will be a few lagging indicators on the scorecard. But
have you kind of seen like a lot of like, do a lot of them look similar, like as far as like these scorecards across businesses?
There are, so there are some, like I give examples when we're creating a scorecard, I give examples of measurables. So, for the sales and marketing, for finance, for operations, there are some pretty typical measurables.
What does finance need to keep track of?
Oh, well, things like gross revenue year to date, or,
but that's not really
cash flow.
That's not like a finance number.
Right.
So like but they will report it, but they can't be like, they're not responsible for it. Like,
well, they're accountable for it. And so
just to report it though.
Yes, for reporting. Yeah. So we really it's not, like I said, it's not always easy to find all of the numbers that are going to make sense and give you an action, or, make you take action because it's leading. To show you what to do.
I guess because when we tried to implement KPIs before, like certain things like sales is very easy to create KPIs for, but when there's like administrative team members or like finance team members, like I don't have like something to measure like if they're doing well or not, Right. So. And
so those numbers might be useful on a different report. But our scorecard is designed to give you a pulse on your business. So if that number doesn't give you a pulse, then take it off.
Important.
You don't need it there. Let's focus on the things like, what are the things that are going to make you money? What are the things that are going to show you what winning looks like? At the end of the week, if you had 5 to 15 numbers and you were like, that was a great week. What are those numbers, right?
Is it a weekly check-in?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm selfishly like getting some free coaching from you, so thank you.
Yeah, you got the expert here. You might as well.
So I mean, one of the things too, I think is like even for us is like data is it takes a lot of work to get the numbers correct. Yeah. Or like to pull the data, but then once you have it, it's so powerful to make decisions. Yes. But I think a lot of entrepreneurs, especially if you're like on the smaller side, it's very hard for you to get that data and in front of you like on a regular basis. You know, so like let's say like you're a 1-man or 2-man or 3-man show. Yeah. Are you still looking at data in those instances? Of course.
I'm a 1-woman show and I use a scorecard every single week, and so I'm tracking
for your EOS like coaching business, you still use all of these things in the EOS. You're still tracking data. Okay, no, I mean, this is really interesting. So,
these tools work. And so I use all of these tools in my business, day in and day out, week in and week out. I use these tools. And so I'm tracking on my scorecard every week. And the powerful thing about tracking every single week is then at the end of the quarter, you have 13 weeks at a glance. And so you can see patterns and trends developing. It shows you what you should keep doing, what you should stop doing, what's working, what's not working. It almost helps you to foretell your financial future. And so it's very important to track, even if you're a solopreneur. Okay. Keep track on a scorecard.
This is great advice. Okay, so vision, people, data. What is number 4?
Issues.
Yeah. Okay.
So when your people, data, and vision components are strong, you're going to have a lot of impurities that bubble up to the surface. You're going to have things that sort of jump right out at you. We call those issues. So I actually heard a really cute quote by another implementer last week. He said, shout out Blake Winters. Blake Winters, he's the son of Mark C. Winters. He said, not all issues deserve tissues. So issues are not inherently bad. Okay. The word issues sort of has like a negative connotation, right? But issues can be problems, obstacles, challenges, whatever's frustrating you, opportunities, ideas. You want to get all of that stuff out of your head and onto a list somewhere in your organization. There's therapy in that, right? And so the first discipline we use is the issues list. That's the first tool. So we need to have every single employee in your organization, whether you have 10 or 10,000, they need to have access to an issues list to get all of those things out of their head and onto a list. Okay. And then we have to get really good at solving those things.
Every employee has their own issues list.
They have access to one. We start, like I said, I work with the leadership team. We create an issues list for the leadership team.
So it's shared across all the leaders.
You got it. And then we migrate those tools and disciplines down throughout the organization. So then every department will have an issues list. And so every team will have an issues list. And they're working through that issues list and they're adding issues every single day, getting those things out of their head, getting them onto a list. And then at their weekly meeting, or monthly meeting or whatever it is, whenever they're going to IDS, and I'll talk about that in a second, they're resolving those issues. You cannot be great at achieving your vision if you're not good at knocking those issues down as they arise and making them go away for the greater good of your organization forever.
That's really, really powerful. I think one of the things I see with successful entrepreneurs is they're good at, number one, finding the issues, and then number good at addressing them like right away. I think there's a speed to like addressing them. Sometimes we'll just let them sit on the sidelines, and that slows the progress of your business because they're not willing to address it. But and sometimes we just don't even know what the issues are because we forget about them, or there's no way to track them. There's no list. So I think it's really genius to have like a list that you're going through regularly, and then you put energy and focus to like, let's solve these issues together, right?
So once we have that list, we've gotten all of our issues out of our head and onto a list. We've smoked out all the issues in the organization. Then we have to get really good at solving them. And usually what's written on your issues list is just a symptom of the root cause. And what we've observed is that even the best leaders, the greatest leadership teams, they'll get themselves in a room, they'll discuss the heck out of an issue. Rarely do they identify what the root cause is. Rarely do they ever come up with a plan of attack, right? To make that issue go away. So they just do a lot of yapping. They talk and talk and talk. And so we created something called the issue solving track. And so it's called IDS for short. So identify, discuss, solve. And that's what we use. We use this IDS method to prioritize what the most important things are in your business that you need to resolve right now. Then identify the issue
Okay.
with as few words as possible, really
Okay.
dig down into the organization and identify the root.
Okay.
And then discuss briefly with nobody repeating themselves. Saying it more than once is politicking. And then moving to a solve.
Can you break that down? What do you mean by that?
You know, oftentimes I will, so when I'm in a meeting with my clients, they'll identify the root of the issue, and then everybody wants to tell the story about it. Okay? We talk story in Hawaii, right? But when we're, like you mentioned earlier, people don't resolve their issues with enough speed, right? And so we need to get really good at, not beating a dead horse and talking about the elephant in the room and not getting
straight to like solving mode.
Right. Don't get distracted by
how
every
do you
shiny
how
object.
do you like as a leader, like managing this meeting, how do you keep people on track? Because I feel like the tendency is like we drift, or like it gets long, or we don't stay focused on, okay, let's keep solving. Like how do you, and then you don't want to like be rude to cut people off, but I feel like sometimes you have to cut people off, like cool story, bro, but then like let's like how do you manage something like that?
Well, I'm really good at it.
Okay.
And I secretly love cutting people off in meetings. And so I'm not afraid to go there because that's my job.
Yeah.
But on a leadership team, there's usually someone who is a facilitator of the meeting. We appoint someone to be the facilitator, and that's their job, is to cut people off. They secretly love cutting people off. It's that person. You know who they are. But we add some like levity into the process. Like this, working on your business is different than working in your business. When you're working with me, with a professional EOS implementer, we come in and we pull you out of the weeds, and we're staying at 30,000 feet. We're working on our business. And so I want it to be fun. I don't want it to feel like a drag. And so I bring these animals. I have these squishy animals. I bring them into the session room, and they represent different things. Like there's a horse, for instance, for don't beat a dead horse. And sometimes we'll throw them at each other. So, like there are ways to kind of move things along. And in the spirit of being open and honest and vulnerable, and that's what I do. I help my teams to become much more open, honest, and vulnerable with each other. We are able to move things along without being rude and disrespectful, right?
There's an art to that, I think.
Absolutely.
But I mean, it's not, I think I've seen it done really well, and I've seen it done really poorly.
Yes.
And so it's scary, I think, as a leader to cut
so?
people off, or like you don't want to like let them finish their thought, but like, no, we got to move on to this next thing. Right.
So I think everybody understands that's what we're doing here. When we're in that IDS mode, right? That's the name of the game. That's what we're doing. And so it doesn't feel rude. It doesn't feel like that.
Is this like a weekly session, a monthly session? What's like a typical?
Yeah, so we're IDSing. I IDS with my teams in our quarterly sessions and in our annual meeting. And so I do that with my teams when I meet with them. And then in between, and I'm kind of getting ahead because this is one of the tools we use to strengthen the traction component, is the meeting pulse. And so they're running weekly level 10 meetings. We call it a level 10. We always want to come to our meeting at our best. So we rate it actually.
That's what the level 10 stands for?
Yeah.
I thought, for some reason, I always thought it was like just like the top line, I mean, level 10. I never realized it was like give your best. Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So most of the time when my clients come to me, they're operating somewhere around 20 to 40% strong in the 6 key components. My goal is to help get them to 100% strong in all 6 key components. That's utopia. It's impossible. It's never going to happen. And so we're
That's the goal you're striving for, right?
Yeah, but we're shooting for 80% or better, right?
Okay.
And so same thing with our level 10s. I'll ask my prospects when I'm doing that 90-minute meeting, that right fit meeting, how are your meetings? Tell me about meetings. How effective are your meetings from 1 to 10? And typically they'll tell me.
Do you feel like when they're done right, like people come in energized and they're excited for the meetings?
Yes,
because like for me, I mean, like just at least with my old job, who loves meetings, right? But like how do you get people to enjoy or actually love these meetings?
Yeah, it's the level 10 meeting structure. So it's a brilliant meeting agenda. So it's well, first of all, your level 10 meeting needs to be on the same time and on the same day, same agenda, starts on time, ends on time. Okay. Those are the 5 earmarks.
Okay.
And so you have your level 10, it's once a week with your leadership team. It's a 90-minute meeting designed designed for the leadership team. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, that seems like a long meeting. It's not. Trust me. You get yourself in that level 10 meeting.
You call yourself to like hype yourself up for the meeting. So like you're excited, and you have to, I guess as a leader, you need to bring the energy for the meeting.
Right. Absolutely. So, yeah. And 60 minutes of that 90-minute meeting is spent IDSing. So you're resolving the most important issues in your business, and we do it where it's pretty fast paced and it moves along quickly. And so it is energizing. We're spending 60 minutes resolving the major issues in your business, the key issues for the greater good, right? Like to move us forward every single week. It's fun. It's exciting.
I don't know, like if it's just your gift, but like when you talk about this, I feel excited about having like a level 10 meeting. But I feel like when you leave, it's gonna be like, like I don't know. But I mean, like, you're getting me hyped. Like I feel like we want to do this with our team. Like have level 10 meetings, have like the IDS, like the really like solve problems, and like and then like it'll be fun, I think. So a lot of times when you're solving like big problems and you find solutions, it's a lot of fun.
Right.
But but just meetings in general are not fun. So like merging those two or figuring that out, I feel like it's a skill or it's something that you need to figure out.
Yeah, the level 10 meeting agenda is a world-class meeting agenda. It's a time management tool. It's the most effective and efficient way I've seen people run meetings. And so it is fun. It's exciting. And yeah, I'm glad that you feel hyped up about it, because honestly, I feel like the level 10 meeting is the linchpin that holds EOS together. So for me, that was one of the first tools that I implemented in my business, and it was such a game changer. And so I always tell my clients, like, just try it. You can read Traction. It's all in there. All these tools and disciplines are all in the book Traction. They're also on the EOS Worldwide website. They're free. They're downloadable. Just try the level 10 meeting. And it's going to feel bumpy at first, but you need to just keep going, keep trying it. And after a while, it's going to feel so natural, and it's such a game changer.
Because I mean, we tried this in the past, and what happened was exactly like it got boring, and like people, it dragged on, right? So like there was no energy in the meetings. Like it's kind of got like I don't know, like monotonous, or like like it's just like it wasn't like exciting. It was so, and then it was just like and it just eventually died, because I was like, why are we doing this?
Maybe you need some squishy animals. I don't know.
I'm just how do you make sure that the level 10s are? Do you see this with your clients, where like sometimes like they just kind of get like more boring or more lethargic, as opposed to like being energetic,
Sometimes, yeah. I don't know. I think it's to each their own, but there's a really great video on YouTube. It's called the Level 10 Whiteboard video.
Okay.
There's one by Gina Wickman, and there's one also by our current EOS Worldwide Visionary, Mark O'Donnell. And you can go and watch those videos, and it shows you the exact psychological flow of the perfect level 10. And so I always tell my clients, like, if they're feeling kind of like stagnant or boring or that they're dull, go rewatch that video and then follow it exactly like they teach, just to kind of like dial it in.
Got it. Okay.
But it shouldn't feel boring. Maybe if it's boring, you might have the wrong people, right?
Maybe, or the wrong leader too. I mean, like just a skill set, right? Because I feel like it's a skill set to be able to facilitate the meeting as well too, right? So like if you don't come with energy, probably maybe it's just a reflection of me, because I'm thinking the meeting is gonna be boring. So then like that's maybe
exactly. So that's a good point. Maybe you have the wrong facilitator. It doesn't have to be the owner, the visionary, right? It could be someone else on the team.
That's a good point
so
too.
switch it up. See how that feels.
Okay. No, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. So vision, people, data. There was issues.
Yep.
And then the last, number
the
5.
Fifth one, is process.
Process, okay.
Or process. I'm Canadian. I was born and raised in Canada, so they say process, but I'll say process for you and your listeners.
Thank you.
Strengthening your process component looks like you're just getting everything done the best and right way every single time. It's what creates consistency, makes things more scalable, more profitable, more fun when you do your core processes. So there's 6 to 10 core processes that make any organization run. So there are things like an HR process, marketing, sales, maybe a handful of operations.
These are just kind of like timelines, or like things like they're like charts, or like your like a decision chart or something. Is that what it looks like?
Not exactly. So it's kind of like an SOP. Okay. So we document our core processes, just the core processes, just the major steps. So we take a 20-80 approach, 20% of the steps to get you 80% of the way there.
Got it.
If you document 100% of the steps, you're going to get a 700-page SOP
That's
manual.
the thing. I think it happened just in the past, where like how detailed do you actually go, right? So like it's this thing where like if you go too high level, it's not really useful. But if you go too detailed, it's so painstaking, and like to document these things, and like it's such a huge ask for everybody, and like nobody ever looks at it again, because it's so
you get a 700-page SOP manual that nobody ever looks at or uses.
This is what we used to actually do. I used to work for the in the a private company. We used to do
Okay.
this for the state, right? So
Yeah.
then literally we need to like build these like 700-page manuals, and like at the end of the deliverable is literally a stack of paper this big.
And then what'd you do with it?
And then like we give it to them and they put it in a binder and like no one ever opens it.
Yeah, they put it at the bottom of a filing cabinet, or they use it as a doorstop,
It's,
right?
it's literally it's so crazy, but like
Yes.
they paid so much money for this giant
Right.
like thing of like just stacks of paper
For
that nobody's
what?
ever gonna use. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we take a 20-80 entrepreneurial
Okay.
approach. 20% of the steps to get you 80% of the way there.
Okay.
And then once we do that, we've documented and simplified your core processes. Then we get them followed by all. So that's just a
Okay.
mechanism to ensure that every single person that touches any part of these core processes,
Okay.
they've been properly trained, measured, and managed to do it the best and right way every single time. And your core processes get updated. Generally, that's on an annual basis.
Okay. Okay.
So there's a really great book called Process.
Okay.
There's a whole Traction library. So
Okay.
Traction is the OG book, right? And then there's Rocket Fuel, there's Process, there's People, there's Data. There are books for
Each individual
Yeah, there's a
component.
whole library. So you can go check it out if that's
Okay.
something that you're interested in working on. But we take a 20-80 entrepreneurial approach.
I really like that. I mean, I've heard people like talk about it so many different ways, especially like the checklist manifesto or different things.
Sure.
And then I've seen like when like when people pitch or sell their services, it sounds so good. Like, oh, let's document all your processes and people won't make mistakes anymore. But I have found so many times where like trying to implement this thing, like you spend so much energy and effort into documenting this process, and then number one is either like never followed,
Right.
or it changes, or like the people just like they get burnt out from the documentation, and like
Right.
it's just there's so many like wrong ways to do it. But I mean I'm not sure exactly what your ways looks like, but I like the 20-80 approach where
Yes.
you're documenting the 20% that gives you the 80% of the results.
And there are
So-
some really great advancements now with AI to help you to get those processes documented and dialed in. And there are some awesome companies too. Like there's a company called Playbook Builder. There's a company
Okay.
called Trainual, and they'll
Okay.
help you to figure what those things are out, and they're in alignment with EOS. And so, yeah,
that.
taking that high level approach is key.
Thank you. Okay, so we did vision, people, data, issues, process,
Yeah.
and then what's number 6?
Wow, I'm so impressed. You've got a great memory. Do you have it in front of you? I can't see what's on your computer. So the 6th key component is traction.
Traction. Okay.
So that's where we bring it all down to the ground and we
Okay.
execute on your vision and your plan with
Can you
discipline.
define what traction means? I mean, because
Yeah.
other rest, I feel like they're self-explanatory, but traction is like a nebulous word.
Yeah.
so-
So traction, Gino Wickman he likes to say, there's no coincidence that vision's at the top of the model and traction's at the bottom, because vision without traction is hallucination. And so you need to, it's one thing to have a great vision, but you need to take that vision and you need to execute on it with discipline and accountability. And so that's what traction is.
So it's discipline and accountability.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we use two things. We use rocks and meetings. And so,
okay. Do these kind of like, it sounds like they kind of overlap with some of the other things? Like, are they all interchangeable? I mean, they're all connected in some way.
yeah, absolutely. So like, for instance, with the rocks live on your VTO, on that
Okay.
strategic planning document
Okay.
I talked about to strengthen
Okay.
the vision component. We report on those rocks in our level 10 meetings every single week. We also report on our scorecard. We make sure that we're checking in with all the most important stuff in our business. So all of these tools work together. It's a holistic system. And so they all work together to help you to get a grip on your business.
Okay. So can you break down what the actual, like what that traction piece is? So,
yeah. So strengthening the traction component, again, it's rocks and meetings.
Okay.
And so every 90 days, we're focusing on what's most important, right? Those rocks, right? What are the 3 to 7 most important
Okay.
things for the company and the 3 to 7 most important things for you as a leader? So all the
Okay.
individuals in your
and
organization.
then everybody has like their own rocks, right? It's like
Correct.
within like this department or this team or
Yep.
this person has like their own rocks.
Yep. You migrate these tools and disciplines down throughout the business. So every single employee has at least one rock per quarter.
And then traction also takes into account, like, is this the meeting cadence or what is that? What is like
Yeah.
the...
Yeah. So if you hire me as your EOS implementer, I'm responsible for those quarterlies and annuals, right? In between, you're responsible for those weekly level 10s. And so that's the meeting cadence. It's called the meeting pulse because it's like a pulse in your business, right? It has to be regular. It has to stay on pulse, on track. And so you're responsible for those weekly level 10 meetings, and you do them week in and week out. And that's how you gain traction.
Can you give maybe like a story about like maybe a business you work with where the traction component actually made a big difference in their success or productivity?
Yeah, so I was working with a company and they weren't even having meetings before I started working with them. They were, well, actually, that's not true. They were having meetings, but they were having things put out fires, right? Okay. And so when the what hit the fan, then they were having a meeting about it, right? And so then everybody's hair's on fire and it's pretty hard to concentrate when that's happening, right? Or they were having lots of daily huddles or check-ins and one-off meetings.
What's the difference? Yeah, I mean, aren't those meetings though, like daily huddles and check-ins? No, we eliminate all of those. Really?
Yes, you don't need to do that stuff. So that's the beautiful thing of the weekly level 10 meeting. It eliminates all those meetings, and so then it frees you up. You're just having this meeting once a week for 90 minutes. And it eliminates all those other pesky meetings. And so then it frees you up to do more stuff with your time. Can
you, speak to that a little bit more? I mean, that sounds too good to be true. Like, how does one 90-minute meeting eliminate all the daily huddles?
Yeah, it's because of what's in the meeting. Okay, so we start with a segue. I'll break down the meeting for you briefly here. So the segue is where we transition into our meeting. So there's a psychological element to this from working in your business to on your business. So everybody goes around and we share one piece of personal and professional good news. Okay. That takes 5 minutes. Okay. So if there's 5 people on your leadership team,
it's like 1 minute
30 seconds for professional, 30 seconds for personal. Okay. But it's a really important part of the meeting to segue. Then we move into our reporting phase. So you're going to report on your rocks. Are they on track or are they off track? So we report on the company rocks, and then every individual reports on their individual rocks. On track, off track. If something's off track, it gets dropped down to the issues list.
Got it.
Okay. Then we report on the scorecard, those 5 to 15 measurables. Are they on track or are they off track? Right. And then if something's off track, again, drop it down.
Got it. Okay.
Then we report on our customer and employee headlines. So that is everything that has to do with keeping our customers and employees happy. Okay, that's where we report on that.
Customer employee headlines. I mean, can you break? What does that mean?
So I don't know the last time you picked up a newspaper, but a newspaper has a headline, right? And they're short. So like a headline could be Karen's pregnant. Okay. So that's the time that we're sharing that stuff during customer and employee headlines. And so if anything needs to get discussed during this reporting phase, there's no discussing, there's no debating, there's no defending.
It's just letting people know.
Just reporting. Yes. If anything needs to get discussed any further, good or bad, drop it down.
To the issues list.
Issues list, correct. And so then after the reporting phase, and I always tell my clients, you're actively mining for issues during that time. Okay, we're reporting on the most important stuff in your business. Then after that, we inject a little bit of weekly accountability with a to-do list. To-dos are 7-day action items that people in this meeting need to go out and do. They come back the next week and they report. Were they done or not done? Okay, 90% of your to-dos should be done every week. If they're not, guess what? They get dropped down. Yeah. So then we have our issues list, right? And 60 minutes of your 90-minute meeting, the vast majority of your meeting is spent IDSing. And so we look at our issues list, and I don't care if there's 10 issues or 100 issues. You read through your entire issues list. And sometimes over the course of the week, just due to the nature of business, issues get resolved. So they can come off the issues list. You just want to focus on what's most important. And then once we have all of our issues on our issues list, everything's out of our heads and on a list, then we prioritize. What are the 1, 2, and 3 most important issues we need to solve right now? Okay, so they're usually not written in chronological order. You don't start at the top of the list and work your way down. So we need to get really good at prioritizing our issues and then solving them at the root. And so then we just do the IDS process with issue number 1. Once it's solved, we can move on to issue number 2, issue number 3, and we keep doing this until we solve 3, 6, 9, 12 issues in a single meeting.
And then one of the big things you mentioned was you always start on time, you end on time.
Correct.
So then like the issue's not resolved by the end of the thing, you're still ending the meeting.
Right. With 5 minutes left in the meeting, we move to conclude. And so when we conclude, we are recapping our to-dos. Everybody, we make sure we go through the to-dos list. And I'm especially like, when I'm working with teams, I tell them, I don't care if there's 10 or 100 to-dos. You read through all the to-dos, and when you hear your to-do, you say, got it. Okay. That's how we're accountable to each other to do what we say we're going to do.
So
okay?
one guy reads through all the to-dos and everybody who's accountable says, got it. Okay.
Yeah. Then after you recap your to-dos, then you share any cascading messages. Who needs to know what coming out of this meeting, right? What do they need to know? Who's going to tell them? How are they going to know? So any cascading messages. And then we rate our meeting from 1 to 10, with 10 being best. Okay. So that's the last 5 minutes. And then we're done. And you want to start on time and end on time, because that's how we respect each other's time, right? And then there will be issues left on your issues list, but that's great. Your issues list is never going to get cleared. That's not the goal, okay? Your issues list is just there for you to have a place to get those things out of your head and onto a list. And we work through as many issues as we can. Sometimes there's one big meaty issue that we work through for 60 minutes,
I see,
right? And then other times we're kind of, it's a speed round and we're working through like a dozen issues. Whatever happens, happens. But you know that you're going to come back in 7 days and you're going to do the same thing, right? And so,
What about like let's say somebody is they're on vacation or let's like there's a holiday or like these things like that. Do you just move the meeting to another day?
No. And I tell my clients, look, there are 2 reasons why you should miss a level 10 meeting. It's vacation or death, and the death is yours, nobody else's. Okay. So those are the only 2 reasons why you miss a level 10. But it's a standing meeting and it's the most important meeting of your week. Okay. It's the most valuable and expensive time.
It has to be in person? Do people do it over Zoom?
No. Yeah. In today's world, there are so many, people who work remote, etc. So you can do your meetings in person, over Zoom, whatever. But you just make sure that they happen. And there are great tools to help you with that too. There's a tool called 90.io. EOS has their own software. It's called EOS One. And so there are tools where you can there are software tools that you can house your EOS tools on, and they help you run your meetings as well. And so visibility is key. Everybody needs to see what's happening in the 90-minute meeting in that level.
Especially if you're like on Zoom, right? Because I can imagine this on the whiteboard right now because like it'd be so helpful. But like, if you're on a Zoom meeting, you need like a Zoom whiteboard or something.
Exactly. So you can do it on a whiteboard. You can cast it up on a screen. You can have it on your computers if you're joining over Zoom. But there's software that you can get, and people have their own logins, and so you can manage.
What's like the best, I guess, day of the week and time that you found for most
people? Of my clients do it's really any time that works for you, but most of them, I would say 80% of my clients do it on a Tuesday morning.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that way, you're going to have to populate your tools. You're going to have to populate that scorecard. It takes about 10 to 60 minutes every week to populate. Got to get those numbers and put them in. I encourage all of my teams to pre-populate as much stuff as they can going into that meeting, so we can just kind of run through it. We don't spend time like looking stuff up or, thinking even about like customer employee headlines, for instance. You're going to report on those things every single week. Put it in there before your meeting, and having Monday to do that is really nice. And so usually my clients do their level 10 meeting on a Tuesday morning.
Okay, really interesting. Because for us, we have our weekly team meetings on Monday.
Yeah.
Would it make sense to have our like company-wide team meeting on Monday and then a leadership meeting on Tuesday?
Maybe. If it works for you. Some of my clients do their level 10 meetings on Fridays. Like it's whatever works for you. So you have to figure it out. And that takes time too. Sometimes my clients will commit to a day and time, and then it doesn't work, so they shift it, and then you just figure out what works for you and your team.
After coaching hundreds of leaders, like are there certain common things you see all the time that people always have to like figure out or solve?
Probably people issues, so getting all the right people in all the right seats. That's usually like the biggest issue. There are 5 frustrations that most entrepreneurs deal with, and one of them is people. They're things like profit, control, nothing's working, hitting the ceiling, right? But I would say people is probably
one of the biggest challenges.
Yeah, whether it's your clients, customers, employees, spouse, kids, whoever, like they just don't ever seem to get it or want it as much as you do, right? And so we have to just stay the course and make sure that we're doing the work to get 100% of the right people in the right seats, because like I said earlier, you can't achieve a great vision without great people.
Yeah, that's so true. What about like applying it to your personal life? Can you speak a little bit to how you do that?
Yeah, so that VTO I was telling you about, that 2-page strategic planning document.
Okay.
We have a personal VTO.
Okay, for you or your family, or
for my family. Well, so I have a VTO for my EOS practice, right? And I've tweaked it a little bit to make it make sense for me. But I have a personal VTO for my family. And
VTO stands for Vision
Traction Organizer.
Okay, Vision Traction Organizer. Okay.
So it still has 8 questions, but like family doesn't usually need a marketing strategy, right? And so we have like a bucket list there. And so bucket list adventures. And but we have family core values. We have a family core focus. We have a 10-year target, long-term energizing goal, right? We have issues. And so if you're interested in a personal VTO, reach out to me. I can send it to you. But yeah, these tools and disciplines apply to for-profits, nonprofits, families, individuals. They're just simple, practical tools.
You know what? One thing I found, like someone helped me realize recently, is even churches, they're really small businesses when you look at it. Like,
Absolutely.
you know, but then like now that you're bringing, I mean, like, so because like a lot of people think like churches is like a church, and like because you're not making money, it's like you don't run like have the same issues. But in reality, like a church is really it's a small business.
It's an organization.
A nonprofit is still a small business, the same as well too. And then like what you're helping me realize now is that a family is really a small business. Exactly. And like if you're looking at the big picture of things, there's the same issues that you deal with a small business as you're dealing with your family, right? There's people, there's organization, and profit might look differently in certain areas, but then it's still the same concept is still the same. Like you're still dealing like human capital or like relational capital, different things where there's like quote unquote profit involved in every single like situation.
You got it. Well, some nonprofits are making more money than some for-profits. I'm just saying. But you're right. You're absolutely right. So churches are organizations, families are organizations, right? Like, so how can we do more, right? Like, how do we accelerate as an organization? And the way that you do that is with traction.
Yeah. It would be really cool if maybe like our government is like use traction.
Oh my gosh, yes. Don't even get me started. That would be really cool, but not going to happen.
So maybe like just last question for you, like somebody who's, I guess, like a starting entrepreneur, they're on the near side and they're a solopreneur.
Yes.
If they want to implement traction, what kind of advice would you give to someone like that?
Yep. There is a book in the Traction Library called E-Leap, the Entrepreneurial Leap. So I would start there, read E-Leap. And then go to the EOS Worldwide website. There are resources. There is help for startups. So there are some really great programs. There's an ELEAP program you can go through. But really just, it's all about focus, right? Get super focused, create a plan, and gain traction on that plan. And there are people out there, there are resources out there to help you. So I would start at the EOS Worldwide website and just dig in and explore.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, if people want to reach out more, use your services, what's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, well, so I'm all over the internet. Just look up Amanda Barkey, Barkey, and you'll find my microsite, my website, my LinkedIn. I'm all over the place. Or email me at amanda.barkey@eosworldwide.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. This was great. Thanks so much. Mahalo.